This podcast is brought to you by Paramount Plus.
Welcome back to the AI Analysis Podcast. We have a fantastic episode for you today. We recently sat down and watched this YouTube video, and it featured just one of the most, let's say, unconventional life coaches we've ever come across. A man who calls himself Dr. Fantastic.
Right. The video itself, the Complete Guide to Happiness podcast, it's not what you'd expect.
Not at all. I mean, if you've seen it, you know what we're talking about. The setting is Antigua, Guatemala. He's sitting in this beautiful garden on a swing, just having a coffee.
Completely unscripted. It definitely skips that polished studio vibe you see everywhere else.
It really does. It's either very authentic or maybe a bit chaotic.
Or maybe both. And he kicks it off with this just enormous promise.
Oh, it's a huge one.
Yeah.
An audacious promise. He pledges that if you follow his philosophy, you will look better, feel better, live longer, be happier, and you'll be more successful in business and relationships.
And you'll help make the world a kinder, cleaner place.
Exactly. I mean, that's a lot to guarantee from one person's philosophy.
It is. And that really is what we need to do here. We have to sort of guide everyone through this material, cut through the stories and the big claims, and find the actual core advice he's offering.
Find the real philosophy of happiness that he's built.
A philosophy built on some pretty extreme personal experiences.
Okay, so let's get into it. And I think we have to start with the man himself.
Yeah.
You know, with that name.
Dr. Fantastic.
He has this incredible list of titles. He's a motivational speaker, a life coach, a philosopher, author, world traveler, a yacht captain.
And he says he's been in over 100 different professional fields. It's hard to believe.
It is. But that list, I think it serves a purpose. It establishes him as someone who's seen it all, not some academic in a tower.
Right. But the name itself, Dr. Fantastic, that's the real key.
Huh.
He says it's a manifestation technique.
How so?
He claims the word fantastic actually forces you to smile when you say it. And that physical act, that smile, can reduce stress and anxiety. So by making you say it, he's making you do this little piece of positive self-talk.
That's a clever psychological hack. A simple, enforced positive affirmation.
Exactly.
But the thing that really grounds his whole philosophy, I think, is he's absolutely wild childhood. He was born Lester Munta Cook III.
Into extreme wealth in Beverly Hills, yeah.
But then his parents split up, and his mom completely rejected that whole Hollywood lifestyle. She married a beatnik artist, a guy named Arthur Richard.
And that one decision, that's the foundation for everything. He goes from this immense privilege to poverty in Venice, California.
Which at the time was a really poor community.
Right. And then after his parents died, he was orphaned and sort of shuffled into the middle class through the foster care system.
He makes a huge point about this. He says that because he's authentically lived as rich, poor, and middle class, he can understand everyone. He's not just lecturing from on high.
Exactly. And this story was so dramatic, his family was actually featured in Life magazine.
I remember that part. The article was called Beatsville versus Squaresville. He was the living embodiment of that clash.
He really was. And about his claim of 100 different jobs, you could just dismiss that. But he uses it as proof that he knows how to survive.
Which makes sense, especially considering the hardship he went through. I mean, that story about the Santa Rosa fires.
Yeah, where George Herms had to rescue him and his sisters from a burning log cabin. That's a genuine trauma.
And then running away from foster care after all that. It's a lot for a kid.
But here's the pivot. This is the crucial part. He gives his foster father all the credit for teaching him practical trades. How to be a plumber, an electrician, a gardener.
So they weren't just jobs.
No, they were assurance. He learned that he had the skills inside him to survive and to thrive anywhere in the world without needing a corporation or family money. That self-reliance is the bedrock of everything he teaches.
And that self-reliance, it leads directly into how he thinks about two of the biggest words in self-help: fear and failure.
He just strips all the emotional power from them. He turns them into acronyms.
Right. Fear is just false expectations appearing real.
And failing is the first attempt in learning.
By doing that, by just assigning this positive, almost technical meaning to the word fail, he takes away that psychological sting that stops people from trying things. It's a classic reframing technique.
And what's so fascinating is his whole life seems to be built around collecting these firsts. He sees them as these essential, knowledge-generating experiences.
He tells so many good stories about this. Like his first job, he was 8 years old in Hillsbury.
Making and selling hot toothpicks.
Yeah, soaking them in cinnamon oil. And he talks about that feeling of coming home with a jar full of money. That kind of success at 8 years old That has to shape you.
Oh, for sure. And he doesn't just talk about the small firsts, he goes for the big ones too, like the first time he jumped out of an airplane.
He hired a videographer.
He did. He wasn't just doing it for the thrill, he was creating proof, evidence that he could conquer a major fear, a real-world demonstration that fear is just false expectations.
I like the story about his first solo flight. He said it was exhilarating for about 15 seconds.
And then he realized he still had to land the damn thing.
Right. That quick shift from pure joy to immediate life-or-death focus. He says that's what life is like.
And his education, as he puts it, came from the School of Hard Knocks. He hitchhiked through something like 35 or 40 countries.
And he was always taking on jobs for the challenge, not the money, like building a silo in Iowa or being a waiter in Florida.
Or that one really specific story about being an international courier delivering some special drug to a billionaire in Ukraine.
It's all about prioritizing the experience over comfort.
And that's the key takeaway, I think. He built his entire worldview on practical, tested, and sometimes terrifying real-world experience. It gives him a kind of credibility that, a typical professor just wouldn't have.
So this incredibly chaotic life, it all eventually gets boiled down into 3 surprisingly simple rules. He calls them the 3 commitments to kindness.
And he claims they're simpler than the 10 Commandments and that they can solve all of mankind's problems.
That's a big claim.
It is. But this is where all that life experience gets synthesized. The guy who lived 100 lives finally realized the basic truth has to be simple.
Okay, so commitment number 1. He calls this the hardest of the 3. Be kind to yourself.
And this is the critical starting point for him. Unconditional self-love. You have to come first.
He uses that famous analogy of the oxygen mask on an airplane.
Put yours on first. Exactly. He stresses that you can't make anyone else happy. You can't be of service to the world if you yourself are depleted. It's not selfish. It's just a necessary first step.
And his practical advice for this is so simple. Look in the mirror every day and say, I am beautiful, I am healthy, I am fantastic.
Positive thinking has to start with positive self-talk.
He also gives this piece of advice that's a little cynical, but also very honest. He says, don't care too much about what other people think of you.
Because, as he says, everyone's opinion about you has an agenda for them.
Which is a really sharp insight.
It is. It connects his philosophy to very modern ideas about, setting boundaries and self-determination. He's basically saying that looking for external validation is a fool's errand because it's always filtered through the other person's needs.
So you have to create your own internal self-sustaining sense of worth.
That's the foundation.
Okay, that sets the internal foundation. We should probably take a quick break, but when we get back, let's talk about how that foundation projects outward to the rest of the world.
Sounds good.
So you've probably seen that tagline, a mountain of entertainment, right? Well, today we're going to break down exactly what that means and why this might be the only streaming app you really need. First, let's just talk about the sheer volume of stuff here. I mean, we're talking thousands of full episodes from huge brands you already know. BET, CBS, Comedy Central, MTV, Nickelodeon, you name it. And for movies? Oh yeah. They've got new blockbusters ready to stream like Roofman, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, and even the new Naked Gun. Second, it's not just about quantity, it's the premium content too. This is the streaming home of Showtime, which you get with the premium plan. Plus, it's a massive hub for live sports. You've got the NFL on CBS, the UFA Champions League, and get this, the UFC arrives in 2026, streaming all its major events live. You also get to stream on up to 3 devices, and that premium plan means ad-free viewing and offline downloads. And finally, what's it going to cost you? Well, the plans are super straightforward. They start at just $7.99 a month. If you want all that premium stuff, like no ads and all of Showtime, it's only $12.99 a month. The whole point is to get you to just try it for free. So if you're tired of bouncing between different apps for your shows, movies, and sports, it's time to check it out. Go click the link in the description and see what's on that mountain for yourself.
And we're back. We've just been exploring the really extraordinary life of Dr. Fantastic and his first, and maybe most important, commitment. Being kind to yourself.
Right, and that internal peace, that self-love, is what allows you to move on to the second commitment.
Which is, be kind to all others and the creatures. This is pretty much the golden rule, right?
It is. It's the global application of it. He argues if everyone just followed this one rule, you'd eliminate wars, lying, stealing, cheating, bullying, all of it.
But the part that makes this so memorable are the 4 little exceptions he gives.
They're very clever. They make the rule stick in your head. He says, if you must lie.
Lie next to someone you love.
If you must steal, steal away from bad company. If you must fight, fight tyranny. And if you must kill.
Kill a bad habit. It's just a really smart way to frame things.
It really is. And he also talks about the power of language here, too.
Right, replacing words like good, which he says has no energy, with fantastic to keep that positive vibration going.
And that leads right into the final commitment, which grounds the whole philosophy in environmental accountability.
Commitment number 3, be kind to our Mother Earth.
This one is all about action. Don't litter, don't pollute. Actively use less water and electricity.
This is where he gets surprisingly specific and practical, which is maybe not what you'd expect from a self-proclaimed yacht captain.
Well, maybe the yacht captain is the one who best understands how fragile the oceans are. He treats water conservation as like the most important thing. He calls water the most precious commodity next to air.
And he has 2 very precise pieces of advice here. First, use a third less toothpaste.
And second, take extremely short showers.
I have to admit, I kind of pushed back on the shower advice when I first heard it. He breaks it down, 30 seconds to get wet, soap up, and rinse off. Is that even possible?
It sounds a bit extreme, I know, but I think we have to look at the intention behind it, not the strict time limit.
Okay.
He's trying to stress mindfulness and accountability. He's challenging that mindset that says, I earn the money, so I'm entitled to a 20-minute hot shower.
So the goal isn't really a 30-second shower.
I don't think so. The goal is to make you acutely aware that your consumption impacts the planet. It's about forcing a shift from just passively wasting resources to actively conserving them. The rule is just shocking enough to make you think.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And this whole system, these 3 commitments, it's clearly resonated with a lot of people. It's led to a whole global movement.
Yeah, supported by his Foundation for World Harmony. He calls it the Kindness Revolution, and he claims to have over 9,500 ambassadors of kindness.
And these aren't just regular folks. He lists off queens, Indian chiefs, billionaires, quantum physicists.
And that huge range of people, I think, it just reinforces that the core message when you strip away all the showmanship is universal. It doesn't matter what your social status is.
And the movement is formalized in what he calls the Global Kindness Pledge. He suggests saying it every day.
Preferably into a mirror, and he says you should teach it to your children, and it perfectly summarizes the 3 commitments.
Number 1, I pledge to be kind to and love myself.
2, I pledge to be kind to and strive to love all others and the creatures.
And 3, I pledge to be kind to, love, and respect our Mother Earth.
It's just a very simple system that covers your own happiness, how you treat others, and how you treat the planet.
So, okay, we've gone through the chaotic life story, the focus on self-reliance, the simplicity of the commitments. But if you had to boil it all down to his one core secret to happiness, what would it be?
It comes down to your internal drive. He says you have to find something in life that makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning.
That excitement, that passion, that has nothing to do with a paycheck or your job title.
Precisely. His logic is, if you truly love what you're doing, you will naturally become good at it. You'll become an expert. And the natural result of expertise is that someone will eventually pay you for it.
And that payment, he says, is just the gravy.
It's just the gravy on top of doing what you love. Money itself, he says, does not buy you happiness.
And that is such a powerful idea coming from him. A guy who started with Beverly Hills wealth, lost it all, and then realized material comfort isn't the actual goal.
The goal is internal passion and simple, actionable kindness.
And he leaves us with one last really provocative thought about consequences. His definition of hell.
Yeah, it's not fire and brimstone. For him, hell is the afterlife, where you're forced to look back on the life you lived and see how you wasted it by constantly putting off your happiness for some future date.
Like the person who saves every single penny to retire at 40.
But then dies at 39 and a half?
All that waiting, all that self-denial was for absolutely nothing.
The message is just an urgent call to action. You know, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. If you want to be happy, you have to start applying these ideas right now, in the present moment, because it's the only time you're guaranteed to have.
So there you have it. Will you become a dire ambassador of kindness? Let us know in the comments. We'll see you next time.
Come with me to discover the transformative power of kindness and the joy it brings. Join me as we explore every Monday morning simple yet profound ways to elevate your happiness, one gesture at a time.
Wow, fantastic, baby. Dance.